would you move to Austin, Texas? If you've been on YouTube, you're seeing a ton of videos now about how everybody is fleeing Austin. Everybody's getting the hell out, but they never talk about where they're going. Guys, Chris Pesek, broker associate at Pesek Properties and the Dripping Springs home team here. And I've lived in Austin since 1999. I've watched as people come and go from Austin. And what we're seeing right now isn't this mass exodus back to California or back to New York or any of that stuff. People moved to Austin thinking it was one thing, then they realized that they really didn't want Austin anymore. So what they're doing is they're getting out into the suburbs and the exurbs, and I didn't even know that was a thing, an exurb. Suburbs are the closest communities in to a big city. Exurbs are the next ones out, but that's what's going on now. So don't move to Austin, move to one of the outlying areas in Central Texas. Today, I'm focusing on Dripping Springs, my own personal home, and personally, I think for me, the absolute best suburb, actually it may be an exurb, I'm not sure, I still gotta get up to date on that, but might be the best suburb in all of Austin. Let's find out what subdivisions my clients absolutely love in this area. What subdivisions my clients absolutely love in this area. Why are people moving to Dripping Springs in general? And then we're gonna talk about where you need to live in Dripping Springs. The first reason that people are getting out of Austin and getting out to Dripping Springs is because of the proximity to Austin. Really easy to get downtown. The closest parts of Dripping Springs are about 20 to 25 minutes from downtown and about 20 to 25 minutes from the Austin airport. And even the far western side of Dripping Springs, you're about 30 to 35 minutes to downtown and the airport also. So if you need to work in Austin, but you don't want to live in Austin because you don't want to be surrounded by all the cars and all the everything and the pollution and all the people right around you, that's why people are getting out here, because it's so close. You can still commute in, and they're making that commute even easier right now because they're expanding 290 into a freeway without lights over halfway to Dripping Springs at this point. So the commute is getting easier. That's one of the main reasons that people are moving out here. They can have that hill country lifestyle, but they're also so close to Austin and so close to the airport. One of the second reasons people are moving here is because of the Texas Hill Country. Hey guys, I am inside of one of my favorite neighborhoods here. This is Headwaters, and this is an old farmhouse that's up here on the top of the hill that they maintained. And by the way, that's Charlie, that's my dog, that's my best girl right there. They maintained this at the top of this hill as a part of the park. And one of the things that you're gonna find in Dripping Springs that you're not gonna find in a lot of the other communities out here is an absolute devotion to maintaining the hill country with the views and the vibe and not trying to stack people on top of each other. Now, don't get me wrong, there's some neighborhoods out here that there are house on top of house on top of house, but most of the neighborhoods have done a good job of having a lot of green space, a lot of green belts behind houses so you don't have those neighbors right on top of you, and preserving views like this, but at the same time, keeping nature involved by not just skinning every tree off of the neighborhood. I mean, you can look, we've got houses that are being built out here right now, but they're still trees on that hillside. So when you're coming out to Dripping Springs, you're gonna feel a part of the hill country and you're gonna feel a part of nature. Another major reason people are moving out to Dripping Springs is because of our educational opportunities. Dripping Springs ISD has some of the highest rated schools in Central Texas. There's another high school that's on a bond right now that's potentially gonna be built, but at this point, we've got one high school with a bunch of different elementary schools and middle schools that are going to that high school, but they're going to bond right now to talk about building a second high school. So the school district is driving growth out here, and it's growing very, very quickly. But again, they're trying to put additional schools in so you keep good student to teacher ratios and keep getting that really good education that people are moving out here to get for their kids. And another reason that people are moving out to Dripping Springs and getting out of Austin is because Dripping Springs feels more like a community. You've got great events, you know, you've got Founders Day and things like that out here. Just things that make you feel a part of a community. And then even within the subdivisions out here, you've got events that just draw you out of your house, get you to know your neighbors, and really you become kind of like that extended family out here. Several of my clients absolutely love all the sports and things that are available. Baseball's huge. Dripping Springs Youth Sports has a lot of different programs from cheerleading to some theater stuff. And obviously, you know, there's baseball and softball and soccer and all of these things. So if you're looking for a place to become a part of a community, Dripping Springs is a really, really good option. All right, now that I've talked to you a little bit about why you might want to come out to Dripping Springs, let's talk about the communities that my clients absolutely love out here and why they love them. Now, we're going to talk about 5, and that's by no means all of the communities. These are just more of the master plan communities, and this is where my clients are choosing to live. But there's everything available out here, from a first-time homebuyer community of around $400,000, and those are the houses that are a little bit closely stacked together, up to as much money as you want to spend, giant houses on massive lots, and everything in between. But again, today we're going to focus on the 5 neighborhoods that my clients tell me that they love the most. Before we get started, if you're thinking about moving to Dripping Springs, give me a call so I can help you. But now let's talk about these neighborhoods my clients love so much. Number 5, and we are on the east side of Dripping Springs toward Austin, about halfway to Austin. We're in High Point. High Point is off of 290 to the south, and it's on a road called Sawyer Ranch Road. It's got elementary and middle school just right around the corner from it. High Point is really known as one of those, it's a little bit of a hidden gem at this point. It's completely built out right now, and there's about 1,000 homes overall in here. Really nice amenities, pool, workout center, all of that good stuff. The reason it's number 5 on the list is just because it's been around a little while, and you know, there's not really that new home. So if you're looking for new homes, High Point really isn't going to be your cup of tea. But one of the things that High Point has that I love, in addition to hike and bike trails, High Point's got great fishing. There's other neighborhoods, you know, and I'll talk about them later, that have some, you know, good ability to get out and fish if you want to hang out with your kids and do that. But High Point's got some ponds that have really, really good fishing in them, especially for bass. And Charlie loves the water as well, and there's some friends saying hi. But High Point really, guys, overall, really a lot of things to do outside. Kids can get out, run around. It is gated, so it's a safer neighborhood. It's one of 2 gated neighborhoods that we're going to talk about today, and just a ton of outdoor space. And that's one of the things that drives Dripping Springs. That's one of the things I talked about early on, is the ability to get out in the Texas Hill Country, see things that you're not going to see in Austin, and have just a little bit of a tranquil bit of life. Now, again, you know, you got dogs barking at you, but that's going to happen in any neighborhood. But we're far enough removed from 290 here that you're not going to have a lot of road noise inside of Headwaters. There's not any through traffic. Again, it's a master plan subdivision with a gate, so you don't have a lot of traffic outside of the people that live here and the people that work here. So if that's kind of what you're looking for, something that's a little bit more established, High Point could be a really, really good opportunity for you, and especially if you like fishing. All right, let's get on to number 4. All right, number 4 on our list is Belterra. Now, Belterra is the oldest master plan community in Dripping Springs. It's in Dripping Springs ISD, and it is in Austin, Texas, just like number 5. High Point is in Austin as well. That's the mailing. So Dripping Springs ISD. This is the farthest east, or the closest you can get to downtown Austin for commuters, while still being in Dripping Springs ISD. One of the things that I mentioned from the very beginning is that a lot of people move to Dripping Springs for the schools. And so Belterra, even though it started a long time ago, I mean, you've got houses in here 20, 25 years old at this point. That's one of the reasons that it still is one of the best-selling communities out here, is that it is the closest you can get to downtown Austin with still being in Dripping Springs ISD School. The neighborhood is massive. It is over 1,600 acres. You've got over 1,600 homes in here. So this is by far our largest community. In fact, in 2020, they did a census in Belterra, and there were over 6,100 people living in Belterra at the time. So again, a massive, massive community here. But why do people move to Belterra outside of being close to Austin? Let me get this turned around for us. Like I mentioned, Belterra is 1,600 acres, but over 400 acres of it is park and just wild area. This is the amenity center right here. Great swimming pools, awesome swimming pools and splash pads for the kids. You've got basketball courts here. They're redoing that stuff. Some tennis courts. Got a baseball field out here, but 400 acres of common area of park space. And like everything else in Dripping Springs, again, one of the reasons people come out here is to be outdoors and to do things outdoors. Charlie again, she loves sniffing out here. But to be outdoors, you've got all of these trails, and again, miles and miles and miles of trails that you can ride bikes on, that you can hike on, you can run on, take your dogs out on. Just an incredible place to be outside Belterra is. Now, like I mentioned, there's houses in here that are 20 and 25 years old. There's also some houses that have been built in the last 2 years, 2023, 2024, but those are just the last ones. So at this point, Belterra is all but built out. I think there might be one custom home lot still available in here, at least the last time I checked. But it is built out. So, you know, if you're wanting to get in here, it's going to be a resale home. And here's a little bit of a pro tip. You can still get into Belterra fairly affordably, but if you've got to be willing to, we'll say, maybe make some updates on some of the houses that somebody may have bought 20 years ago and have just now decided to hold. Because Belterra is so close to Austin, but it still has that Dripping Springs vibe. There's not as much turnover as you would expect from a community this big. So houses still sell fairly quickly in Belterra, even in markets where, you know, maybe not everything else out here is selling. In addition to all of the amazing outdoor areas and being so close into Austin and being a part of Dripping Springs ISD, another reason that people love to live in Belterra is Belterra Village Shopping Center. From here in Belterra, you've got HEB. It's, I mean, depending on what part of Belterra you're in, the HEB can be as close as a quarter mile or as far as maybe a mile away. And that HEB is one of the newest HEBs in Austin. But in addition to having your grocery store right here, you also have a ton of restaurants. You've got stuff like The Switch, which is a barbecue joint. You've got Hat Creek Burgers. You've got Chick-fil-A, IHOP, Freebirds, Torchy's Tacos, a ton of stuff that you can eat here locally. And in addition to stuff like Popeyes and Panda Express and things like that. So you have all of those places. You've got dentists, you've got minor emergency clinics, you have Gold's Gym, you have a Taekwondo, Belterra Taekwondo, there's a movie theater, Evo Movies. Just the list goes on and on and on about the things that there are to do here in Belterra. One of the coolest things about this neighborhood is because Belterra Village Shopping Center is so close. A lot of people here have just bought golf carts now. They park their cars at home. They take the golf carts up when they go out to eat. They take their golf carts to pick up the kids because, you know, there's in neighborhood schools here as well. Rooster Springs Elementary, Sycamore Springs Middle School. So a lot of people at this point just have golf carts that they can ride around, and when they're at home, now all of a sudden they can just be in their golf carts and have access to everything that they need. So those are the reasons Belterra is number 4 on this list of my clients' favorite neighborhoods in Dripping Springs. Let's go take a look at number 3. Number 3 on our list is Calaterra. Now, Calaterra, again, one of my personal favorites. I've got a lot of clients that have moved here and absolutely love it. And some of the things that are the biggest reason that people move here are the community events. Calaterra is huge with community events. They've got stuff almost every week, and you know, they've got a place over here that it's a barn, and they've got a coffee shop. Lemieux's Coffee is in there. You can rent out places like this behind me. This is an outdoor pavilion area. There's a TV and a fireplace in here. You can have parties in here. You can rent kayaks and everything else, and yeah, the kayaks, that's a thing, because I'm going to introduce you to one of my favorite features of Dripping Springs, and that's Onion Creek. So let's get this turned around, and Charlie and I are going to walk down to the water with you. And as we're walking through here, looking up, that's the coffee shop up over there. Really nice gathering place. Again, that's where most of the community events are. There's a really nice playground up there. And then up on top of the hill here behind Onion Creek, and this is why you need kayaks, because Onion Creek is running through here. Up on top of the hill where the newer parts of the neighborhood are, the swimming pool, another play area, really cool spot with hammocks and things like that to hang out. But Charlie and I love this area right here. Calaterra, like most of the neighborhoods out here, was an old ranch, and the ranchers put dams up along Onion Creek to hold back water, so in times of drought their cows could eat. And that's what you're seeing here with this clear water down here. And again, the water's so clear out in the hill country because we've got a bunch of rock in the ground. There's just not a whole lot of mud to make it dirty unless you recently have had a rain. So that's one of the great things about this neighborhood. And the number 2 neighborhood that I'm going to talk to you about in a little bit is you've got access to this amazing water feature. And there are fish in here. You can fish. You can't swim, but you can kayak. And the open space in Calaterra, really, it probably has the second longest trail system of any of the neighborhoods. The first one we'll talk about again, but A lot of trails in here. When my wife and I go out hiking, we can get out and do 4 or 5 miles out here and never cross much of the same trail twice, with the exception of going up and down the hill out here. So now, from the neighborhood perspective, Calaterra, about 600 houses, and it is almost completely built out. The only thing that's still being built is there's a section over here that's gated, that is estate homes and custom-built homes. But in terms of the production homes, Calaterra's already built out. So you're not gonna have to worry about a bunch of trucks and nails on the road and stuff like that. It's a lot quieter than when all of that construction's going on. As we're walking down closer to the water here, you can tell they are going to, make it easy for you to have access to things like this. Again, dogs. Charlie loves this place. She, I don't know if she'll go swimming today. It's a little bit chilly still, but really, really great place for dogs to go swimming, fetch in the water, skip rocks, all the stuff you would do with your kids. In terms of the location, Calaterra is just on the south side of downtown Dripping Springs, and I'm gonna stop. I don't know if you can see, but there's some bass in there. That's about a 12-inch bass. And I know that there had been some really big bass in here, but a lot of the water got really low in the last couple of years with the drought. So I don't know if there's any monsters in here anymore, but I know that people used to pull 4 and 5 pounders out of here pretty regularly. But anyway, Calaterra is just south of downtown, close to 150, which goes out to Driftwood and off of Ranch Road 12, which if you continue south past Calaterra, you go down to Wimberley. Like I said, Charlie loves this place. She's gonna grab that stick. But that's the number 30 neighborhood, Calaterra. Really amazing place to be. Let's go take a look at number 2. Number 2 on our list is Arrowhead. Arrowhead's on the west side of Dripping Springs on 290, heading out towards Fredericksburg, Johnson City, that area. A couple of things that I really like about Arrowhead is, one, it's a gated community, great little gated community. And when I say little, it's one of the smaller ones out here. We're looking at roughly 400 homes, and it is completely built out at this point, not gonna get any bigger. So if you're looking for a smaller neighborhood, something that you can get to know the people around you and get to know, like I was just driving through the neighborhood just now, and that people see me, they recognize me, they're waving. That's just the kind of community feel this is. And we talk a little bit about the differences between kind of the east side of Dripping Springs and the west side of Dripping Springs. When you get back over here to the west side, you definitely have a little bit more of that sense of that small town Dripping Springs feel. It's a little bit more what people are looking for when they're coming to Dripping Springs. In terms of what you can find in Arrowhead, the amenities are great, and they have some of my favorite hiking trails, and one of my favorite features, and this is repeated from Calaterra, and I'll show you that in a second. But I love the hiking trails in here. They've got a community pool, they got a couple of playgrounds, a lot of sidewalks as well. But this trail they have, and Charlie is up here ahead of me, is really one of my favorite trails. It goes basically all the way around the outside of Arrowhead and walks along Onion Creek. And again, that's what we saw in Calaterra. You can see Charlie there sniffing. But when you get up to this part of the trail, you've got this bluff that looks west. And if you are a fan of sunsets, this is the place to be. You can come into here whenever there's a sunset and just sit down on these giant rocks and watch the sunset over there over the Texas Hill Country. Absolutely amazing. And I'll give you a peek down in here. You can see at the bottom, that is Onion Creek. Charlie, please don't go there. Charlie, come back, please. Hey, Charlie, thank you. Would rather not have my dog jump all the way over. Charlie, let's go. But this is, again, not only one of my favorite features of Arrowhead, but really just about every subdivision out here. They've got great hike and bike trails all the way around. If you love to get outdoors, Dripping Springs is an amazing place for that. And here at Arrowhead, it's just one of the other main features that we love about it. All right, number 1 community is number 1 for a lot of reasons. I mean, the amenities here are second to none. The location's absolutely amazing. So number 1 on the top Dripping Springs neighborhoods is Headwaters. Guys, I'm gonna get this turned around and I'm gonna talk a little bit about Headwaters and show you why this place is absolutely phenomenal and by far my favorite neighborhood here in Dripping Springs. All right, so I am up in the amenity center, or at the amenity center on top of the hill here in Headwaters. And this is the stuff that, this is what the hill country is all about. You've got amazing views. This little facility here is Charlie's having a blast out here. This facility here you can rent out. They've got grills here with this amazing view, ceiling fans. You can have parties up in here. Turn this around, got a fireplace, got TV, have the game on. That right there behind this is called the Hub. That's kind of a coffee shop, meeting room. Residents can use that just to work, a little bit of an internet cafe, but also to meet with clients and things like that. That's also where the full-time director is for community activities. And guys, if you've got kids and you're looking for reasons to get out and introduce your kids to other people, or just even meet other people in the neighborhood, they always have activities here. And this is where that's housed. That's where the activities director is housed. Over on this side, you've got an amazing weight room facility, workout facility, absolutely beautiful inside and out. And that sits right over the top of these pools. And in terms of the amenities for pools, these are second to none in Dripping Springs. There's 2 swimming pools. This top one here has a little beach walk-in area. This is the one that is kid-friendly and, you know, let them go crazy. Got shallow areas, got deep areas, all of that stuff. But then down there on the bottom, you also have an adult pool. Now that thing is set up to where it blocks a little bit of the noise from the top one, so it's not as noisy down there. It is adult only, so kids are not allowed down there running around and screaming, so it's a little bit of a reprieve from that. And look at the views that you have on that side of the pool. Just absolutely incredible here looking out over the hill country. Now, a couple other things that make Headwaters just absolutely unique. Well, first of all, it's right at 1,000 acres, and there's going to be roughly 1,000 homes in here. So there is a lot of green space, and every one of these houses backs up to a green belt. So you don't have that neighbor over the back of your fence looking right down in your house. And you can see those houses right there, they're all back in the green belt. And that's the way it is throughout the whole neighborhood. Also, the houses in here are a little bit different architectural style. I would call them hill country modern. They're just a little bit different. A lot of board and batten siding, steeper roofs than what you're going to see in other areas. So just in terms of, that dog is happy, guys. I'm sorry. Charlie's running around crazy. Just in terms of the aesthetic for the neighborhood, if you're looking for something a little more modern, or, you know, you could also call it a little less modern because it's also got a little bit of that craftsman style to it. But anyway, those houses really, really nice. The design aesthetic here in Headwaters. Also, we've got houses here that range from about 5 years old, and they are also still building. There's several builders in here. So if you're looking to do something brand new, you can still do that. And I'm walking down here, you can kind of start to see we've got hiking trail here, got a big open grassy area back here. There's a dog park. So again, over and over in Dripping Springs, it's about getting outside. It's about getting out into nature, and Headwaters has all of that. I mentioned a few of the other neighborhoods and how far you can walk without hitting the same trails. Headwaters, you can walk a minimum of 8 miles without ever hitting the same trail. You know, some of the sidewalks here go to the trails, but all those green areas behind the houses, or the vast majority of them, have trails cut in them. So most of the houses, you've got direct access. If you've got a gate out the back of your fence, you've got direct access to that hiking trail system here. Also in Headwaters, you're going to have an in-neighborhood elementary school that's going to open in the fall of 2025, this fall. So if you're looking for a place that you can walk your kids to school, Headwaters is a great option. Here, just showing you, we've got the Central Bark, the dog park here. Every neighborhood needs a dog park, right? One of the other upcoming features here in Headwaters is a big city park along Barton Creek. Now, I showed you Onion Creek. Barton Creek, yep, the creek that ends up down into downtown Austin, starts out here in the hill country. And there's going to be direct access from the hike and bike trails here in Headwaters down to the Barton Creek Park. So again, one of the things we really pride ourselves in the hill country on is just the fact that you can get out and see nature and be in nature nonstop. And Headwaters, again, is in spades, has that. So if you're looking for that peace and quiet, if you're looking for a ton of amenities and a ton of things to do, that's why I've got Headwaters as my #1 neighborhood in Dripping Springs. As we're wrapping up this list here in Headwaters, just got to remind you, if you're looking to move to somewhere in Central Texas, anywhere, it doesn't have to be Dripping Springs. I just happen to live here in Dripping Springs. But if you're looking to move somewhere in Central Texas, give me a ring. Love to help you out.